Thanks for tuning in. I assure you, I am not drunk. I am demonstrating what is called proprioception. Don't worry, this is a golf video. This is not going to turn into Bill Nye the Science Guy. Thank you very much for tuning in to my channel. My name is Kenny, some of you may know me as Kenny Cat. I am a competitive amateur golfer, and this channel is designed to show my journey on what I'm doing to become a better competitive golfer. Don't forget to subscribe. I have lots of great content that comes out on a weekly basis. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you for coming back to the channel. Hey! What is proprioception, you might ask? Proprioception is basically your ability to understand where your body and limbs are at relative to the space that you're in. Your body is naturally able to understand where its limbs are at any point in time. That's why if you close your eyes and put your arms out to the side, you know how to touch your nose. Or you can touch your mouth. And if you're really athletic or you have really good hand-eye coordination, your body's ability to understand where your limbs are relative to where they are in space is probably increased. So why am I so focused on this whole thing? I'll tell you why. I've been going through a lot of swing changes and I have not been giving my wedges enough work. Now, this is not an idea that is new to me. This is not even my own unique idea. I actually stole this from Eric Cogorno Golf. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below of the video. But I've been having some difficulty getting my chipping distances in. And part of that is because I've been going through a lot of different swing adjustments, but I really just haven't put in the time to develop a system. So, the way he explains this is a lot of people focus on this whole clock methodology, which I can understand how that makes sense in a theory, but it also is not kind of how you understand where your body works and how your body works. 6 o'clock is down here, I presume, because I'm a clock, literally looking at a clock. Perfect example. I'm trying to imagine a clock around my body. It's a system that may work for some, but this is one that I found that's worked better for me in my wedge control distances. What his system is he recommends that you use your hands awareness to positions on your body. So, if you're setting up for a chip shot or a wedge shot, and I've got my 56 here, I don't necessarily need to know where my body is relative to a clock, but if I take the club back to waist height and return it to waist height, I have a pretty good idea of where my waist is relative to space. So what you do is you go out to a range and you go out to a chipping area, or you go on a TrackMan or whatever launch monitor. I did this earlier practicing at my chipping range. I take a, hey Cat, can you move? I'm trying to see your golf club. Thank you, much appreciated, bro. So you take your 56-degree wedge or whatever wedge you want to start with. It could be a 60, it could be a 56, doesn't matter. The whole point is you're trying to understand where the basic distance is. So you start with your wedges you want to start with, and then you go hip to hip. And then I would say you hit, 3 or 4 or 5 balls going hip to hip. Just chipping like that, hip to hip. And then we kind of get an idea for, if I take this wedge and I go from hip to hip, I get a pretty good idea for what distance that club is traveling, or what distance the ball is traveling. For me, with a 56-degree wedge, hip to hip, what feels like hip to hip for me, is about 50 yards. It's going to be somewhere in the range of 48 to 50 yards. So that's kind of how you start. I know exactly where hip to hip is. I know exactly where, if I set up to my ball, I know exactly where chest height is. And I can get the ball back to chest height pretty much the exact same time without too much thinking of clock and really putting a lot of swing thoughts in my mind. And I also know where shoulder height is, shoulder to shoulder. And then I can also get an idea and a feel for where ear height is at, because I know where my ears are. Each of these distances on your body with wedges are going to have different numbers. Or one of the questions that I have as I'm going down this journey to become a better competitive golfer is, I don't know exactly how many wedge distances I need. Let me actually grab my sheet and I'll tell you how many wedge distances I have. It's always helpful to have a nice little notebook so that you can keep, some of your yardages and stuff written down somewhere. So I know that I have distances with a 60 degree that'll cover 40, 30, 50, 60, and 70. And then I've got with a 56 degree, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And then with my 50 degree, I've got 55, 65, 75, 85, 95. On par fours, I'm in position to really score, but I'll be 100% honest with you. I've just been kind of guessing it from inside of, basically a full 56 wedge, which is 100 yards. And I know better players that have their wedge numbers down to an exact, like they can go from 50 to 55 to 60. Why did I do that in reverse? I should have done that higher. They can go from 50 to 55 to 60. I don't know if that's a skill set that I need at this current circumstance. This is a really efficient wedge system that I found, and I know there's a lot of stuff out there in the internet and on YouTube, but it's a really great idea on how I use a lot of the information that's out there to really relate to my game and take ownership of it. All right, I'm gonna send this one into the bathroom from this corner. It's like a perfectly straight angle shot. Into the bathroom, can we do it? Chipping games inside of the house. Quarantine, chip my game. Oh, so close! If this flies into the toilet seat, I'm gonna be very upset. Yes, YouTube viewers, I leave my toilet seat up sometimes. I'm a dude that lives by himself, so toilet seat up it is. Oh, damn! I thought it'd be really great to share this with you, give you an idea of what I'm working on in my chipping game. That's all I got for you. Deuces, people. Let's keep it moving.